Addiction, recovery, redemption. These are survivor stories. You are listening to Shattered.
Today I have Dena West with me. Dena, let's start by you telling me a little bit about your childhood.
My dad was a molester, and it was difficult. It was at an early age, and it was hard to get through. And I had my sisters to help get through it. And then that just kind of went over to, as I turned to a teenager, I got married really early, had a child really early at 14. And when I figured out I didn't have to be married or take care of that child, I just went kind of wild and started drinking. And I drank for a long time. Then when my daughter was 5, my youngest daughter, I quit drinking. And then that's when my son started his drinking and doing drugs.
And how old was he?
He was 14.
So tell me from there on your son how it kind of escalated out of control.
One summer, I let him go to Mexico with his dad. And he just got deeper into it there. His dad didn't have any constraints on him or tell him no. He just really got into it.
And was it alcohol then, or?
No, then it was marijuana, and then from there it went to the meth. And it was just escalated from then on to now.
So when he came back from Mexico, he was addicted more so?
More so, and very unruly. There was no telling him what to do after that. I kind of lost all control.
Right.
He wasn't going to listen to me anymore.
Were you single at that time?
I was living with my youngest daughter's dad at the time. And we separated when she was 8, and I moved to DeQueen.
As a mother's point of view, did you ever feel like you enabled him?
Every day. I didn't at first. At first I didn't understand. I just wanted him to be happy. I wanted to give him what he wanted. And if I didn't, I felt guilty that I've enabled him every day of his drug addiction from almost day one till maybe 2 years ago when I really backed up.
It wasn't intentional.
It wasn't intentional. You want to give them what they want.
And they know how to play that guilt trip.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And they're very manipulative. And they can guilt you into, or just keep pounding and pounding and pounding until you give in.
Right. You just want them to shut up and go on.
Yes.
How has this affected you health-wise?
I have really bad anxiety, really bad, but you've seen it. You know me well enough to know I get anxious. There's been a couple of times, the last couple of years, I've had to call my daughter just to come unroll me in the floor when it would hit so bad that I couldn't control it.
Right. Due to his drug addiction, is that the reason he had the bad car accident some years ago?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, he was, as far as we can tell, because none of them seem to have any kind of memory from the actual accident. He was going to get drugs and ran off the road and hit a concrete barrier, and it almost killed him.
Right. And he had to have a heart valve replaced?
Yes, he tore his aorta. It just left a small membrane attached. And when they finally got in there to do the surgery, I think they said they removed 2 liters of blood off of his heart. And the doctor told me that he was like 1 out of maybe 10% of people that don't bleed out on the scene.
Wow. And then after that, he's supposed to be on heart medication.
Yes, he's supposed to be on blood pressure medication.
He was told he could not do drugs.
Yes, ma'am. That lasted maybe till he got home from the hospital. Yeah, he's never stopped. He may change which one it is he wants to do at the time, but he don't stop.
So he chooses meth or whatever, or the opioids. His drugs of choice is mainly opioids.
Right now it is, yes.
And he still gets prescriptions, because I know I had asked earlier, how can he afford to stay in his drug addiction?
Well, he has insurance.
And he finds a doctor that will continue to prescribe. What all does he have prescribed to him to this day?
The hydrocodone, I know they prescribed to him, and I know they were prescribing Neurotins. I'm not positive on anything else.
But you know he gets his hands on Xanax.
Yeah, he gets his hands on Xanax or Klonopins. Yes, ma'am.
And you think a lot of it is he will get what is prescribed to him and then trade it for whatever he needs.
Yeah, I think he does.
How many times has he been to jail?
5?
Is that including prison?
That's, well, to jail up here, probably 10, 12, but to prison, I think he's been to prison 5 times.
Is all of it been drug related?
Yes, ma'am. All of it.
The last time he went to prison, you thought, or was it the time before, you thought it was going to be different because he did get saved? And
It was the time before.
how long did that last?
Remember that my daughter was here visiting that year from Mexico? Okay. The day after, well, go back a day or two, he got put in jail in Ashdown
On misdemeanor.
on a misdemeanor and was released after 12 days when she was already at the house and got a ride home. And the very next day, he got on the Xanaxes, and that's the first time she got to see how bad it was. We had to literally pick him up off the floor and put him in the bed, and his eyes were rolling up in the back of his head, and it scared her so bad. She had never seen anything like that.
When he's like that, how many pills would you say he takes at any given time?
He would have to have 5 or 6 to even get that effect. So it's got to be 10 or more, or however many he can get his hands on. I don't think he's picky. However many's there, he'll take them.
Right. And then this last time he got out of prison, he was offered a great job
Yeah.
at the paper mill.
Yeah.
And he didn't get that. Why?
Because he tested positive on the meth.
Right. He had meth in his system.
Yeah. Not just that, a couple of weeks later, he was working for, and I don't have proof of this, I just think this is what happened. He was working for a contractor in Hochtown on the weekends, and they had offered him to go ahead and come every day. So he was, and he got on the pills and went to work like that one day. He's never been back.
Right. Has he ever been to rehab at all?
No,
Would rehab even work for him?
I don't think so. Not unless it's something that in his heart he wanted. I don't think he's ever hit rock bottom hard enough to think that would help.
Well, the car accident apparently wasn't the rock
enough.
bottom. He's been injured a couple of times since then.
Yeah, and he went through his best friend committing suicide the spring after that car accident. His friend, I think you remember him, Horatio Gonzalez. When he committed suicide, he went through that. And then he tried to commit suicide, if you'll remember, over that same girl that Horatio killed himself over. And it's just difficult. It tears a parent's heart plumb out of their body.
Right.
You don't know what to do. You don't know what to think.
How has this all affected your marriage?
It's a battle. It's a battle to keep a relationship with anybody, especially with a husband. Because he sees what's going on. He sees what you're going through. He gets angry with the child. Then the child gets angry because you say something. You feel like you're like in the middle, and you're walking on eggshells for both of them all the time. And I just have gained the strength and the knowledge and the courage through God and worship that I can now say, I'm not playing you against him and I'm not playing you against him, but God's going to be number one, then it's going to be me.
Right.
Because I can't, I don't want to die, but I would rather be dead sometimes than go through that again.
Right.
It's just heart-wrenching. And to watch my girls, they know, to see what he's doing to me and what he's doing to himself. And when they ask me, Mom, what are you going to do when you get that call?
Because every night when you go to bed, you fear
Oh, yeah.
that you're going to get a call in the middle of the night.
It's either they're going to tell me he's in jail again, which I can handle, because when he's in jail, I know he's okay.
Right.
But, yeah, there's that fear of come and identify the body. And I think I'm strong enough, but you never know.
Well, you think you prepare yourself, but
You're never prepared.
you're never totally prepared
Never.
for that.
Never. It's just heart-wrenching. And don't give them everything they want, Misty. Don't do it. Don't make them work for it. Give them consequences. Show them that there's consequences to actions. Enabling them is the saddest, least loving thing you can do.
If you had it all to do over again, what would you have done differently?
I wouldn't have let him go to Mexico that year, for one thing. I wouldn't have let him behave in school the way he did without some kind of boot camp or some kind of rehab or some kind of male influence, because his dad was never around. Some kind of guidance would be.
And he started at 14. That's been 18 years ago now.
Yeah.
If you could have had the knowledge of like an intervention and sending him off to some sort of teen challenge or some rehab for adolescents back then, that may have helped him today.
Would I have done it?
If you had done so. That's looking back.
Yeah.
It's always hindsight's 20/20. You didn't know 18 years ago what your life was going to be like today. There's no way for you to know that. You've had to live the nightmare for 18 years and gain the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
The last time he went to prison, the parole officer called and talked to you about him paroling to you?
In October of 2018. And I told him that I was afraid it wouldn't work, that he wasn't ready, that he wouldn't conform, because he never does, to the rules. He's not going to follow anybody's rules. And I told the officer that, and he said, well, I'm going to put all this in the report, and I'm going to go ahead and send it through. But they never paroled him at that time. They didn't parole him until this past March. And then they didn't notify me until like 2 days. They called me on Monday and asked me if I could come get him, and I said no.
Because you didn't want him back at your house.
I had to work. No. And the lady said, well, we're turning him loose, and he'll be on the bus Wednesday. And they sent him to Texarkana. No parole officer ever came to my house to do a home check. They never called to okay it.
And you wouldn't have okayed it?
No, I wouldn't have. I had already told my girls, and I had already told my husband that I wasn't going to okay it. They didn't give me much choice.
And your husband works out of town. So when he's home, your son knows not to come around.
Yeah, he'll leave. If not before he gets there, right after he gets there.
And then as soon as your husband leaves, he knows to come back, and he knows how to push your buttons and play the guilt trip.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, yesterday he actually waited till last night to come home. But
with drug abuse also comes a great deal of narcissism.
Yes.
So it's all about him.
Yes, everything's all about him. Everything is. He also has 4 kids, Misty. 4 kids.
that he has no contact with.
He has contact with them now and again, but the really sad thing is 2 is by one girl and 2 is by the first girl. And they only see each other when they're at my house.
Right.
When his kids come to see me, then I'll call the other kids and say, your brother and sister's here if you want to come visit.
Well, at least they're in contact with each other.
Yeah, they text and video chat sometimes. But they don't live together. They don't see each other every day like siblings normally do. It's just... My son has this thing about using the family card. But, you know, if you don't have family, you don't have nothing. And I've had to throw that back in his face, which I don't like doing. Like, don't tell me that if you don't have family, you don't have anything, because where are you when your family needs you? Where are you when your kids need you?
Right.
Well, where am I, Mom? You're in prison or you're on drugs. It's just the whole situation. It's very, very painful and very heart-wrenching.
Right. What advice could you give a mother with that's just learning that her child is on drugs?
Don't love them because of what. Don't give them what they want because you love them. Give them what they need to make them a better person because you love them that much.
Right.
Give them what they need. Everything they want is not going to get them anywhere. But giving them responsibility, give them morals and values, give them what they need to function.
In today's society, we're drifting away from that
Yes.
a great deal.
Yes. There's no... he has no... I don't know how to put it. I was always taught growing up, if you do a job for somebody, do 100% job.
Absolutely.
The best you can. You agreed to do it. You're getting paid for it. You do everything you can do to do that job right. He doesn't have those morals, those values. He's there strictly for the little bit of money.
Right.
It doesn't matter if he does a good job or not. So I would say to the parents, give them morals and values, not things. Give them your time, your love.
Right.
Do things with them face to face, one-on-one time, as much as you can.
Right.
And don't blame yourselves. Don't blame yourselves. We all do the best we can do with what we've got.
I can tell through the years this has all taken a toll on you. I mean, you've had ups and downs, like you said, with anxiety and some health issues and depression. And it's like you're torn. You know, your husband is not wanting to deal with it, and he sees that the hell that it's put you through. So you are stuck in the middle.
Yes, but I have to remember, my husband's a good man. He's a good provider. He takes good care of me. I don't want for anything. I have a home. I have a nice car. I eat well. And he comes home. And my son, he doesn't do anybody but him.
Right. That is part of being a drug addict.
Yes,
and the
it is.
Narcissistic personality. And, you know, we get up every morning, take a shower, get ready to go to work. They get up every morning and focus. Their main focus is on where am I going to get that fix for the day.
And who can do what for me? It's no way for anybody to live.
No.
It's not. It's not fair, and it's not right. But we can change it. We can. We can take steps to change it. We can teach the younger ones the steps to change it.
Right. And at least you have a support group with your daughters
Yes.
that helps you
they all want to just tear him up, They want to just take him and shake him real hard and tear him. Can't you see what you're doing?
Right.
And
Unfortunately, he can't see what it's doing to
he
you.
Can't. He can't. And it doesn't even do, like I will tell him sometimes, I'm not always going to be here. I'm not a young person anymore. God willing, I'll live another 20 years, but
Right.
I would like, to see all of them prosper and make a life for themselves. All of my kids, not just my girls, my son too. It would be that would be the cherry on top of the cake, I guess you could say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, your son, nobody can help him unless he wants the help. So
Exactly.
it starts with him. But, if the car wreck and all of that, which was extremely bad,
Yes.
if that's not your rock bottom, then what will be?
I guess only God knows that.
Absolutely.
Because I can't think of anything else that could be worse than that.
Right. Because he come extremely close to dying.
He did. Like I said, only 10% of the people that have those kind of accidents don't bleed out at the scene.
Right.
He had his boys with him. Did I tell you that?
Mm-mm.
His boys were with him. And the mom was too.
And he was the one that got hurt the worst.
She got hurt too. Broke her back, broke her ribs. Her head hit the dash so hard it popped her eye out of her socket. And she had to go through a lot of rehab. But thank God that the boys, all they got was a broken leg.
Right.
Each.
And so 18 years has gone by, and he's still very much into his addiction.
Very much so. I'm not going to say he doesn't try, because he does. He'll try to stay away from it. And he'll do good for a week, 10 days. And I can say this last time since he's been home, it's not an everyday thing like it was before. I just can't handle even a once a month thing
Right.
anymore.
Absolutely.
Just can't do it.
Right. Not to mention what it's doing to his health.
Mm-hmm. And I tell him that I can't just sit here and watch you slowly kill yourself. I can't do it.
Right.
Because that's what he's doing. Slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Each time, just kills himself a little bit more. It's like they call the cigarette, one more.
Right.
Dig another
I'm going to
step
quit
in the
after
grave.
this pack, yeah.
Put another foot in the grave or something
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
Just every month. I just can't do it. Don't want to do it no more.
Right. Is there anything else you want to add? I pray for you every day.
I thank you for that. I love all the prayers I can get, because there, a lot of people pray for me and a lot of people pray for him. And if it wasn't for the prayers and for the grace of God, he wouldn't be here and I wouldn't be here doing this with you.
Right. Well, I'm hoping that he reaches out and says, I've had enough, I want some help. And if he will ever come to that realization, then we can all step in at
Yes,
that
exactly.
point and help. There's so many options. He just has to accept them.
Right. He does.
So, well, thank you very much, Dena.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Hi, I'm Dee. I'm the host of the Shattered Podcast. Please like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell on the notifications so you won't miss an episode. I'm very passionate about helping families. If you are an expert that would like to help or would like to share your testimony, please contact me. Thank you.